Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, everybody. So, hey, I made a video yesterday. I didn't really like the audio on it. And so, I didn't upload it. I gave a bunch of you guys, my subscribers, a shout out, especially Ben, the positive influence that you've had on me with Arduino. Hey, I gotta say, I started this channel a year ago, almost a year ago, 11 months, with the express intent of finding out whether or not Ed Calderon was full of malarkey. And here's the answer. We've reached the moment we've all been waiting for. And I know that my case is strange itself, being state police in Mexico, but I was for almost 5 years. Y también yo estaba estudiando Derecho a la universidad allá en Zacatecas también, pues. I'm just trying to figure out if Ed Calderon is who he says he is. I don't need his address or anything else. I just need to know that he was police during those years.
Okay, just give me a second.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Well, I have someone under, well, his name is Edwin.
Yes.
Ed. Okay, and yes, he was. And, yes, his birthday is the 20, okay, I don't think.
The 21st of August?
Yes, it is, from 82.
Yes.
I have the clip here, C859. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's right.
And then he was working más o menos hasta 2012, 2014, ¿verdad?
He was here from 2004 until, it doesn't give me a date when he was released from the police corporation. So he was here from 2004. So yes.
Okay, but it doesn't give you, ¿no se da una fecha de baja?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. Super, I very much appreciate your help, man. Thank you so much.
No, to help you. I hope everything goes fine with you.
Okay, thank you so much. Que tenga un muy bonito día, señora.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. And I can tell you conclusively, I was going to do this live. So I didn't even edit it, but I don't want to I don't like YouTube's way of uploading and saving live videos, so I'm going to do this. I had a couple of my partners who are still active in Mexico. I gave them Ed's Queep. And then I just took it upon myself. I was talking to Baja California State Police, which is now the Fuerza de Seguridad Ciudadana or whatever in Mexico. It's basically your police, your citizens public security force, which is like the third generation of state police in Mexico. I called their HR department. In fact, I called them 3 times because it took me 3 times to get back to them. And today, their HR department, I've got it recorded, gave me a definitive answer on whether or not Ed Calderon was actually state police in Baja California, and I can tell you that he was. Without a doubt. The one thing that was strange, and I have the phone call recorded, the one thing that was strange is they did tell me what year he went in, and it was 2004. They did not have a fecha de baja or his release date. So there's a couple things that are going on here. I've always thought that Ed's lack of accent is strange. And I've been in 20 different states in Mexico, and I speak Spanish fluently myself. And I'm going to tell you that the lady that I spoke with, the HR, she speaks English too, very well. She does have an accent. Ed doesn't, and that was what initially drew my curiosity to him, because I've been in all these different states in Mexico, and I have never heard someone that speaks English with the fluency and lack of accent that Ed does. It is true that there are a lot of call centers in TJ. It's totally true that Ed could have somehow learned to speak English, but it is so strange, that level of fluency and lack of accent, that it raises some flags, and it did with me. And I have zero. I don't monetize my channels. You're not going on Patreon. I'm not asking you for a nickel of your stuff. And I've been like the harshest critic of Ed, because that's my uniform, man. My brother's uniform. We have buried our brothers in that uniform. And so, you know, when I see someone come over to the United States, start talking to my politicians and everything else, claiming to be something, I'm going to take issue with it. That being said, you got to call things by their proper names in life. And, you know, I get a lot of flack over, oh, you're lying, you're making stuff up. No, I'm not making a nickel of my story up. You know, I got haters. I've got tons of haters in the comments. I got a lot of people that love me in the comments. I'm not a hater of Ed. Not a hater of Ed. Not a hater of Ed. My only caveat is that I want to make sure that people are telling the truth, because, you know, I better be telling the truth. If I'm not telling the truth to you about having worked in Mexico or having done things or had a certain upbringing, you know, I'm being disingenuous to you, and that doesn't stand. Ed was state police in Baja California in 2004. I don't know what year he stopped, but I'm going to say this. I've been so critical of that man for so long, lacking real proof. It is crazy that he hasn't put his second last name out there, which was another flag. But I will say that, you know, even me doing my videos, I worry about coming home at night and there being bad people waiting for me. So I'm not going to question why or what Ed or how Ed does his security and whatnot. He's got a daughter. God bless him and his little girl. This is the last time I'm ever going to bring this up. The last time I ever question Ed. Because one of two things is going on. It's crazy, and I have said a lot of this stuff. You know, the security thing at Quantico, you know, it is a course that diplomats do give their children. But I'm basically going to apologize to Ed right now for having been so critical, because I'm going to apologize a little bit. I'm also going to preface that with, I've hit those guys up several times, and Eddie Dennis, Ed's business partner, gave me a very good, legitimate reason on why they have not answered my emails. So there's that, right? And plus, we're humans. Plus, you know, there's a gazillion different people calling that dude, I'm sure. You know, I'm just one more of many. Ed's legit. Ed was, in fact, state police in Baja California. He entered in 2004. What year he left, I don't know, but it's not my business, and it's never been about how long, really. It's been about whether or not he earned that uniform, and he did. I don't know why he doesn't have as many pictures as I do, and they don't patrol in trucks the way that we do where I'm at, or where I was. And I still have a home in Zacatecas. There's people saying that I don't go to Zacatecas. I go to Mexico. You know, when you earn that uniform, you make a deal with death, man. It's not hyper sensationalizing it. It's just a fucking fact, man. Forgive the cuss word, but I mean, you put on a uniform in Mexico, and someone very well may take issue with it, and you'll wind up dead, man. You don't put on a uniform unless that's the way. Unless you're okay with that, making that deal. Period. For anybody in the entire country of Mexico, that's the way it is. And in a very realistic sense, it gets brought home constantly, because there are hundreds of thousands of people that have been murdered in that drug war, or killed, or whatever. So, hey, Ed, man, I apologize for being so critical of you. You know, a simple email could have resolved this, and, you know, I'm going to process how I feel about all this, because On one hand, today I did put to bed, it kind of raises more questions than it does. It kind of raises more questions than it answers, because, Ed, you're legit. You are. But then it goes to, why the hell wouldn't these other major podcasters want the opinion of someone else from an American perspective that was in there? So, I kind of wondered, hey, is that CIA and they're just putting that in their database? I'm not going down that rabbit hole, man. There is a lot of merit to a lot of conspiracy theories. A bunch of them. The JFK, there's so many of them that actually are real. The U.S. Army giving black soldiers syphilis. There's a bunch of stuff that the government does do. I'm not going so far as the CIA planning Ed Calderon in the database of the Baja California State Police. I'm not going down that. I do not think that at all. I have asked or wondered if Ed was a CIA operative. Could be. I don't know. You know what? He could be, even though CIA didn't put him in their database in Mexico, which I doubt would happen. More feasible would be Ed was a state police officer in Mexico and the CIA picked him up. If you want to go down that way, I don't think that's going on either. Ed spends a lot of time doing security stuff. So, without stretching this out too much, because I want to upload this today, I'm thankful to every one of my subscribers. All of you. There's a bunch of you. I'm thankful for Ed having the grace to have given me the opportunity to do an interview with him. As far as Gafe 423 goes, as soon as I started asking Ed's last name, he dropped off the map like a page that was torn out of a Thomas guide. Who knows where that guy's at? And that's okay too. He's got his own little channel with 1 million subscribers or whatever. That's not me, man. I work and work and work and work. I just uploaded a video yesterday of me being up at 2 o'clock in the morning. And that's kind of my get down in my little book, because I have a book. I've got something that Ed and those guys don't have. I'm an American that was in Mexico fighting the drug war. With weapons, actively, not like a DEA agent that was given permission to carry a weapon within the country. I'm actually out on patrol. So I've got like my own little very unique niche of what I can capitalize on. So I'm not looking to YouTube and Patreon to do it. A lot of the shows I've been on have already gained several thousand subscribers since I've been on, and I'm not responsible for all of it, but I'm responsible for a portion of it. And I do have to say that it has been very, very eye-opening, the amount of participation between one podcast guest to another, to another, to another. If you start going down the hall, Ian Bick knows JD DeLay, knows Andy, whatever his name is, knows Julian Dory. They all know each other, which isn't that surprising, because, of course, there's going to be a certain amount of interpersonal business dealings with people that are major podcasters, and they are. Camp Ganyan, I love those guys. I love them. They're just the best. Jaime, Jesus, Mark, Tommy, Gabe, all of you guys, Christos, you guys are all great, man. I'm right to ask these questions because just like all of you millions of people now that have seen my videos or seen my face online, all of you, the people that like me and don't like me, I want you to know that when you see something online that it's legitimate, and Ed is legitimate. Today is the culmination and termination of a goal that this channel set out to do, which was verify whether or not Ed Calderon was Policía Estatal Preventiva in Baja California, Mexico, around the years of 2004 to 2012, 14, or 16. They did not give me a fecha de Baja. I am the right person to be asking this question because I was there doing it. That's the only thing that was strange, is no fecha de Baja. So as far as all the Reddit bullshit goes regarding Ed Calderon, I don't know if he was a security guard in San Diego. I don't know if he was born in the United States but has Mexican citizenship and wound up working in Tijuana, and to be honest, IDGAF about any of that, because he was in Mexico, earned a uniform, and that's it. Whether he grew up in the U.S. and went back to Mexico, none of my business. It is kind of crazy to me that he would be a state cop in Mexico and have Fernando Puentes. Let me make sure this thing's still recording. It is. It's kind of crazy to me that he would be a state cop in Mexico and have Fernando Puentes on, who also grew up in the United States but claims to have Mexican cartel sicario friends. And it is crazy to me that everybody, including Gafe, they all want to put on their balaclavas or their pasamontañas and act like everything's super secret for theatrical effects, and nobody's verifying anything. Anything. What do you mean verified, Dave? So like when you're on patrol in Mexico, you will run into cartel convoys that have dozens of trucks, all of them strapped down with primary weapons. And by primary weapons, I mean battle rifles and this type of shit, carbines. And so it would be easy for a journalist, of whom they murder constantly in Mexico. No country in the entire world has more periodistas or journalists, reporteras, murdered than in Mexico. So all these Katerina Schultz people that have been granted exclusive access, I want to see them standing in front of a whole armed wing of cartel. That will shut me up. Katerina Schultz, Vincent Vargas, I'm talking to you. Sean Ryan, you can't answer an email. Respect for your service, but, you know, you and Tucker both have CIA. Hold up, I got to pause this. My wife's calling me. One sec. So, hey, that was my wife. Hopefully you guys can see me okay. So, getting back to Ed. I really don't have anything else to say about it. You know, if someone earns a uniform, I was talking about, sorry, my wife got me spun off. She's not feeling the best. I took her to the doctor yesterday to go get her little, I don't know, whatever the girl doctors do. You know, I love taking care of my wife. So she's not feeling the best today. She's kind of got a cold. She's at work right now. You know, so, and she distracts me with what I was doing. I was talking about Sean Ryan and Tucker Carlson, Katerina Schultz. Where were we? Validating themselves by taking a picture in front of a bunch of armed cartel members that are in front of the convoy with all their trucks. They've got the money and the weapons to do it. You know, Tommy G going down and talking to a couple of Mexicans in an apartment with a couple pistols. I'm not impressed. You know, I was sitting here one day. I created a video right here. I was waterboarding myself, smacking myself in the head and all this stuff. And because he was making his waterboard video, I'm not impressed with a lot of the content that people put out. Not that, you know, they used to have, because I'm getting old, they used to have this show called Siskel and Ebert, and these two guys, I don't know, they might have been New York, I don't know if they were homosexual or whatever their deal was, but they would sit there and critique all these movies all the time. Whether they were homosexual or not my thing, I don't care. That's up to them. But, you know, kind of like schmarmy white guys. But they would sit there and critique all these movies. I'm not anyone to critique anything, but also having seen stuff for several years, I kind of know what looks like what. And, you know, the stuff that these YouTubers put out with their sensationalistic bullshit just smacks of inauthenticity. I'm right to challenge Ed on his accent, and even Ed acknowledges it because his accent is strange. His level of English and lack of accent is unique in a very particular way in Mexico. You don't run into that almost ever. Also, his lack of publicizing his maternal or paternal last name, because we don't know which one it is. Ed gave me his queep. I wanted to bring that up too. Ed gave me his queep, or Eddie gave me his queep to verify it. I'm not going to publish it. which is why I couldn't verify who Ed was the first time that I had spoken to Recursos Humanos or Human Resources in Baja California at the state police. Also, this is the third generation of state police, so I've run into all these hurdles. So that being said, I've talked about kind of a few things today. You know, I'm going to continue being critical of Tommy G and Katerina Schultz, even if they got all their money. Tommy G does. Why are you going to be critical of it? Because they don't prove what they're saying they're fucking doing, man. I mean, this last little thing that Katerina Schultz put out, a little better. You know, let me give her a round of applause. Yay! But, you know, I do dislike people stepping into our backyard with something that I earned, which is my uniform, and sitting there trying to profit off of a drug war that damages the lives of millions of people there and here, with people that have never faced a moment of danger on the playing field, so to speak. Yeah, I take issue with that shit. I do. And I'm always going to. Other people do too. I'm not alone. Just because I'm putting my face out there, don't think that I don't have brothers and sisters at work that feel the same way I do. Because I do. So, hey, Ed, if you're out there, my apologies, man. I have reached out to you on several different occasions. It was crazy to me that Scott Babb did not write down your second last name on your certificate or whatever. That being said, I will never, ever, ever challenge again whether or not you had a Mexican uniform for the Baja California State Police, because you did. And my respect, my deep respect. And Eddie, thank you for being so cordial. Ed's business partner. You know, the rest of you guys, Tucker Carlson, I've never tried to talk to him, but Sean Ryan and all you other guys, or your production managers, pound sand, dude. You know, I go and I earn this uniform, and I realize that my storytelling ability isn't the best, but it doesn't have to be, because my story, the reason why I have something to say is not because I'm a great storyteller. The reason why I have something to say is because I went someplace no one else will go or can go legally now, and did something that most people wouldn't do. You know, even Glenn Beck says it's just crazy. So, hey, you know, I've got my little thing, and maybe I'll start getting into little snippets of what it's like to be working there, or what you see. You know, I think that would be interesting to you guys. Political opinions are a dime a dozen. We all got them. But that's enough out of me for right now. I'm just going to upload this. I'm going to insert what I can of that phone call into this video without divulging Ed's queep, because he does have one. And that's it. Have a wonderful day.